Hi guys, it's Angelina. I just wanted to give my testimony. I mean, I don't know who's watching or if I'm gonna get any views, but this is like for myself, my diaries. And you know, I wish I've never stopped making videos because I did. I used to make shorts and things changed. A lot of stuff has happened after, well, since I posted a lot, but I just felt like, well, to be honest, I was literally in a pit and I'm barely coming out of it right now. But what I can share is my testimony, where, I just hope that it touches somebody. But, yeah. I'm 22 years old and I left home when I was 20. I thought it was best to leave because I was so crazy. My mind was delusional. I had problems and I was running from God, really, when I thought I was, they're better off without me. But I was literally running from my mind when I needed to face myself and let go of things. So I carried that with me when I left, and I went to a friend's house and I wasn't thinking of anything. I just thought like, well, I'm gonna pick myself up and, find a job because I lost my job when I was, I think, yeah, when I was 20, early 20s, early 20. I lost my job. I was just so full of myself and I was pretty rude to a customer, so they let me go. So I wasn't taking things serious. I wasn't responsible. I mean, I got my own car. I would go to work. I wouldn't really call off. But I'm talking about like mentally, like maturity. So I left and I moved in with a friend that I never really met, just online, like Instagram. And so her brother was my former partner. I mean, it was just on and off. And I didn't think like, oh, we're gonna get together. It was just like, I know you and I know that we can have fun, as in like go out and party and whatever. So I did that. I was introduced to drugs, not heavy drugs, but the basics and music and going late at night to the beach and driving under influence. It was just all bad and time was wasting. I remember it was like 1 in the afternoon and I was still asleep and I was like hungover, coming off of something, and time went by so fast. And I remember right before I left, I did like worship with my mother because we used to do worship for my uncle's church, and I play the guitar, and they gave me money, and that money I used to survive because I didn't have a job. So that money went by so fast. I didn't even count at all, but it lasted. And yeah, it was crazy. I didn't even know what I was doing, where I was at. All I know is that I was away and I kept ignoring my parents. They didn't even know where I was at for some time. It was just crazy. And I thought like, well, I'm out here, nothing's changed, like. Then eventually I ended up being in a relationship with him and it wasn't fulfilling. Nothing was at all. So we got pregnant. I got pregnant. And when I got back, my mom told me, I prayed that the Lord would close your womb. And yeah, sure enough, the Lord allowed it to be. And it was crazy, but it had to be. It had to be, because I was struggling to come back to the Lord during my time away, because I knew I needed to. Of course, during the first part, it was like fun and giggles, but then, like, before I got pregnant, I was like, okay, shoot, what am I doing? I need God. I miss my mom. I was so dumb. I was so dumb, wasting time, wasting my life, messed up my reputation at my college. And, it was just chaotic, and it wasn't fun. I regret it, but then again, I don't, because I have my kids. And I don't know. I feel like this must have been the only way for me to come back to the Lord. And I pray that nobody gets to that point where the Lord has to stop you with a pregnancy, or with a death, or homelessness, if that even is a word. But don't let it get to that point, because you're still paying for your consequences, right? And life just gets harder. And when I called my mom, I let her know that I was pregnant. That's what she said. Life gets harder, and it does. No matter what it is, either pregnancy or something else, it gets harder, because the further you are away from God, it's harder to get back, because you carried so much and you have to let it go slowly but surely. Anyway, so I found I was pregnant, and I quickly changed. I changed everything, and it's nothing to be proud of. I'm not proud of anything. But this is all to glorify the Lord. Right before I was pregnant, I took shrooms, and I had a bad trip. It was going fine in the beginning, and then it went crazy. Like, I was starting to hear demons, and I was foaming at the mouth, and my hands were weird, like made a weird sign. And I remember, like, my mom, because my mom would post videos, and she would go to Israel, and she has a channel herself. So I went to her channel, I listened to a video, and it was about Mary Magdalene, and that saved me. Like, in my trip, it snapped me out, and I was able to, like, feel a little bit better, as in have control over myself. But oh man, I don't know, I tapped in the spiritual realm, right? Because that's a twisted way to get into it. But I was hearing the Holy Spirit, but I was hearing, like, the enemy, like, I don't know, it was crazy. I can't even remember. But all I know is that if it wasn't for my mom's videos, I don't know, it would have been pretty scary. But that was the last thing I did before I found out I was pregnant. So by the grace of God, my son is healthy. God could have took it the other way, but he didn't. So I repented from everything that I did, and I remember I went to the trails, and I surrendered everything. I surrendered all the weed. I surrendered everything that I did. Any form of psychedelics, I surrendered it. And most of the stuff was his father's, so I still tossed it. I was like, no, I cut all ties. I don't want it to have a stronghold over me. Because it wasn't. It was just to have fun. So yeah, I surrendered that. I ended up asking the Lord, if this man is to marry me, Lord, you will allow it. If this man isn't to be in my life, remove him. And he wouldn't like marry me, you know? That was hard for me because I've known him since high school. And we were on and off, and he was my first love. So I didn't want to let him go. But that day, I was like, Lord, I don't want to fail you. I don't want my child to go through what I went through, you know? But you are in control. And I put my full trust in the Lord. It was really hard. It was really tough. I cried a lot in my pregnancy, and he was still there. Yep. And I received a lot of support from both sides, the family and our church. They even hosted our baby shower, which is really nice. It was just God always showing up and being there, even though I did the worst things and dishonoring my family, my parents, and even my husband's parents, my husband's mother and his family, it was still dishonoring. But the Lord was always faithful. He's always faithful. And I remember I was on my knees, with my big belly. I tried my best, and praying to the Lord, like, God, this isn't a place for my family, for my son, for us to grow. Please, find a way, open a door, because I went through so much. I went through family housing for homeless people. It was crazy. I tried to find a way to support my son. I let go. I had a job offer, so I made it, and I left it because I thought, well, I'm pregnant. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm disabled. I was just so dumb. So it was hard to get a job. I had a job interview with my big belly, and of course, they didn't give it to me. I was just dumb. Just dumb and not thinking straight. But I kept fighting for my son, and it was my husband and I, at the time, my boyfriend and I, we fought a lot, but he still stuck by my side, and I'm grateful for that. But it was a lot of work, a lot of division, but I kept coming back with the scriptures, and it's either God's way or no way, so then we got married, and it felt so fast. It was all so fast, and I just knew, like, well, I'm doing God's will. This is the least that I can do, is be in one under God in matrimony, in marriage. And so that my son isn't born with, like, parents are not married. That's just me personally. I just don't feel right if, we're not married. But everyone's different. Everyone believes things differently. But I rushed it. It was rushed, so we're going to do things right. And, my mother had me young, and my father didn't have any responsibility with me. They weren't married, so his responsibility in a way was robbed. So, but I'm grateful that my husband is by my side, that he's helpful. It's hard. It's really hard, but by the grace of God, as we keep him in the center, he will show up. He will show up, and we continue to pray together and pray for one another and our children. So, yeah, I'm slowly gaining that trust with my family. Um, it's not easy. None of it is easy, and like I said, things get harder. Things get harder when you're outside. When you have been outside of God and you come back, you still have to carry that, right? You still have to, you know, move forward with this weight, but the Lord is there to give you strength. You know, there's certain things, right? We're not supposed to carry the burden, but certain things like me having children, it's like this is part of it, you know? So we got to move forward. And I'm back home. Um it's not what we want, right? We want our own space, but this is mercy. This is mercy, and I didn't ask to come back. I never expect that I was able to come back, but the Lord placed it in their hearts because I was praying. I wasn't praying to come back here specifically, but to come to go to a home of mine or anyone that will allow me, because the space that I was in was just too small. So this is all God's grace and mercy, right? I wish for so much more for my children, right? As anyone would, but I'm in this hole where, like, what did I do? I have 2 kids. I am a young mom, newly married, still living at my mom's. It is a lot, and for other people to see in public is like, that girl is young, you know. So I try not to think too much of it. People don't know my story. People don't know my life, but I'm trying every day. I am learning every day. I'm learning how to be a wife, how to be a mother, how to be an adult because I'm so young, and just taking it all in all at once. You know, it's just I struggle with like not trying not to compare with other people. You know, I see a lot of shorts and like families, even younger women like me, making it a nice house, a nice kitchen, and I'm just like, dang, like, where do I start? Like, God, like, but this is the start. The start is having faith in God and trusting in the Lord and not comparing to other people's lives. I came out of a big pit and I'm here. And it's not like everything's gonna be fine, right? Because we all go through things every day, every season. And in this season, for me, is to trust God and to keep moving forward in self-discipline. I'm a mother now, so it's really hard to wake up early in the morning and get things done and having my me time. I've been just so out of order. I've been down. I just had my baby 6 months ago, so it's a lot. But like I said, whether you have children or not and you're lost, know that the Lord is gonna be there. You just have to call out to him. He's the only one that can take you out of whatever pit you're in. Surrender everything before the time is too late. And if you have children already and are struggling with things, it's not the end. People say like, oh, your life ends now that you have kids. No, it's just beginning, and it's beautiful. Having children is so beautiful. It's a huge responsibility, especially at a young age, because you're learning about yourself too, but it's beautiful. And for me personally, it gets me going, like, oh snap, I gotta stay on my toes because I got kids, you know. But right now it's just learning to balance everything, and I want to continue with my videos, you know, daily vlogs or day in my life or outfit of the day or cooking videos, whatever. I like doing that and I like watching that content, but you know, I feel like I have a lot to offer. Why not put it to use and give God the glory and have others be blessed by it. You know, I'm blessed by watching other women, like in a way where watching them cook or parenting advice or testimonies, it's like, dang, like I should be doing this kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, it's just all about organizing yourself, and don't forget your identity. Okay, I just got reminded, that's God is telling me, like, this is what you need to talk about. Don't forget your identity. Know your identity. Remain in Him always. Because once you have your identity, once you know, and to sum it up, you know, you might ask, like, well, what is I don't even know my identity. I don't even know. He is your identity. He is the one that you should strive to be. We're not perfect, but we can strive to be perfect. So die daily. Everyone has problems. No one's perfect. But we need to die to ourselves daily. And whatever we're struggling with, we surrender it to Him. And don't sin no more. You know, just lay it at His feet. And Lord, help me with this and this and that. And if you have a husband, or, you know, I don't know, if a guy or girl is watching and your husband or your wife is struggling, or, you know, just come together and pray. Because that's how my husband and I have been doing it. You know, we're not perfect. We argue. But we always have to come together with, hey, this is bothering me, or is this bothering you? Let's pray about it. Let's, you know, because if you stay angry, you're gonna make yourself sick, really. If you're sad, if you're angry, or whatever type of feeling you have, it's gonna affect you if you feel like that for a long time. When my second was born, I was going through it big time, to the point where my milk supply did go down. I'm barely healing from my birth, mentally, physically, and everything that I went through at that time. There was a day where I just stopped and I was like, you know what? God, I don't want to be like this anymore. I'm tired of carrying this weight all the time, and it's affecting me. It's affecting my children, because the way I come to them, you know, it's not godly. It's not a modest woman, you know. Proverbs 31 women. And I haven't been posting because of that reason. I felt like I'm not a Proverbs 31 woman, and I shouldn't be posting anything if I'm not being that. And I go through things, and now that I know, it's just, we're not all Proverbs 31 women. We're all trying to be, and some are at a different level than others. I'm still gonna post. I'm gonna post to motivate myself and to motivate others that we can do it. And I may not have the perfect house. I may not have the best clothes or best anything, but I'm here to support anyone who's watching, that you can do it. We can do it. And just keep moving forward. I strive to become better every day for my children, for my kids, for myself, and to show the Lord that I love Him. Because the way that a lot of people say, oh, I love God, I love Yeshua, I love, you know, Jesus. But how do you show that? And the way to show that is by obeying Him. And most of the time, because we don't obey Him, is a result of not being organized. Oh, I didn't have time. I didn't have time to read the Bible. I didn't have time to look at this, or I couldn't do worship, or whatever excuses. There's a time for everything. So being organized is key. So that's what I need to work on. So the future me is gonna look back, and I pray that by then we're organized, we are feeling better about ourselves, and our content is better. But yeah, that is the message for this video. You know, even though it's a testimony, but what I've learned is to know your identity and to surrender everything unto the Lord, because only He can relieve you of your burdens. And it should not take a drastic change in your life, as in like pregnancy for me. It shouldn't take to that point, and don't let it get to that point, because life is going to be harder. And this is a sign for anyone who's watching. Trust in the Lord. Trust. Have faith. Have faith. The reason why you have a home, the reason why you have a car, whatever you have, be grateful. Be grateful. And I tell myself that too. Be grateful. I may not have my own home. I may not have my own space. I may not have the best anything, but I'm grateful. We're struggling. Low income family is hard, especially in this, economy. Information is just way up, but I'm grateful. We're not lacking. Maybe we're like at the edge of like, oh my gosh, are we like broke? Are we like homeless, but the Lord always comes through. Yeah, it's hard, but without God, nothing's impossible. He'll make a way. When you think there's no way, He'll make a way. And it's all about taking that leap of faith. He will show up. That's for sure. Yeah, so I pray that everyone I pray that anyone gets to hear this video. Don't feel shameful, because shame will actually pull you away from God. Remember that. Confess everything that you've done, even the things you don't remember, or even if you don't know if it's bad. Confess knowingly and unknowingly, and the Lord will tend to you. He's closest to the brokenhearted. And I pray that you guys continue to follow along with my videos and stay tuned. I pray that the Lord gives me new revelations that I can share with you guys, because that is my heart. I love to just help people. My husband can vouch for me. When we were in high school, I used to always just talk about God too, in the midst of my sin. But yeah, I love helping people. I love helping people. I love to do worship. I love worship, and I hope to make a video playing the guitar and just for you guys to soak into His presence with me. I have so much that I want to do with this YouTube channel, but I want to at least lay out the foundation, my testimony, where I come from. I didn't really get into debt, but this is what I felt like saying, why I haven't been posting, and what happened, what made me draw back to God. But now I feel very solid with Him. I may not be the best, but I feel like, God, you're here. God, you're here. No matter what, God, you're here. I feel like this, but I know, God, you're here. Because without Him, oh my goodness, we're nothing. Without Him, I don't want to imagine where my life would be. But yeah, so it's almost the end of, it's the end of the year, right? Because it's November right now, and we got November, December, 2 more months. So the end of the year. And to sum it up, I can say it's just know your identity. Have faith, always, always. And I keep repeating that, but it's just so true. So this video is getting longer. I promised myself that I wanted to make this shorter, but I pray that it blesses you, and I pray that you stay tuned with the rest of my videos, and well, soon to come. I pray that the Lord gives me strength to do them, but my children are asleep, so I was able to record. So now it's time to continue with my chores. That is the mom life, and part of being a Proverbs 31 woman, keeping your home well. All right, guys. Well, goodbye for now.